Hi there. So, how do you start a business when you have a full-time job or full-time responsibility? In today's video, I'm going to talk to you how you can do that in 7 simple steps. All right, let's get started. So, the first thing is, why am I qualified to talk about this? So, let's cover that. So, hopefully, I can keep your attention throughout this entire video. I used to have a job. I used to work for many different corporations, climb the corporate ladder. I was making, relatively good amount of money, over $200,000, and I left it all to start my own business because I was able to foresee that although I was making good money at that moment, at that young age, I didn't believe in the stability of my financial future because I kind of figured out how the job market works. They pay you as long as they need you. So you're not really building much and most jobs out there. And I saw that and I wanted a better future. And I knew what it was like to be poor because I grew up in a dirt poor family, and to the point that we had to migrate out of a country to come to United States and make ourselves a better living. And we paid the price for that, a lot of sacrifices, like many of you have gone through, right? So I knew what it was like to stay there. So that was my biggest fear. And people are usually driven by what they want to accomplish, or they're driven by the fear. So I'm the type of person who's driven by fear. So I never wanted to be in that position. And I knew that if I just take to heart what my current situation was, making a lot of money through a job, that was misleading. And over time, I was going to pay the price for it. So I made the crazy decision, quit my job, started my company, failed on two of the businesses, and third one worked. So it has been a roller coaster of feelings of in between depression and anxiety and like exhilaration pretty much all at once throughout the day. So I don't want you to go through the same thing, right? So if you're entrepreneurial and you want to succeed in life and in business, you want to take control of your financial future, you want to design this in a way that it is as little stress for you as possible, although I can't totally eliminate it. So I came up with 7 steps for you to follow if you're serious about starting a business when you have a full-time job, or you're maybe considering doing that, but you're not really sure if it is a good fit for you. So let's go through that real quick. So hopefully this guide will help you decide if this is a good fit for you. Before we get started, I would really, really appreciate if you like this video and subscribe to the channel if you like content like this, and comment below with your responses, whether you think it's a good fit for you to start a business. So number one, you have to decide how much time you have to dedicate to entrepreneurship, starting your own business, right? If you have a full-time responsibility, full-time job, well, how full-time is that? Like, I know 40 hours is full-time, sometimes even 32 hours is full-time, but is your full-time like 80 hours, 90 hours, 120 hours, right? So you have to decide how much time do you really have so you can dedicate to a new business. Wrong answer is, I have no time. No one has no time. It's just, are you dedicated enough to make time for this? Of course, this can come with a sacrifice. If you're already working really, really long hours and you come back home at 7, 8 p.m. and you have a family, you have to cater to their needs and spend some time. And you just tell yourself, listen, I work really hard all day long. I just want to enjoy my life a little bit and let me do a little Netflixing. And then there goes your 2 hours. And now you're tired and you're winding down and you go to sleep and you wake up next day and continue this vicious cycle pretty much, right? If you look at life that way, yeah, absolutely, you have no time. How do you build a business, right? So the question is, how much time can you carve out of your current busy schedule? And this is where you get really, really realistic, because you will need to know that in order to determine, well, what business you're going to start. That's going to be super important, right? And within our community, we do an exercise called 100 units of time. And the way it works is you jot down, you set up an alarm clock on your phone, or if you have an alarm clock, you can do that to have the alarm go off every 30 minutes. And you go back and write down what you have been doing for the past 30 minutes. And you do this for every 30 minutes, obviously excluding the time you're at a job. If you're working from 8 to 6 p.m., you don't need to do that. You're working there. But this is for the time after the job. So you have half an hour commute time, or you jot it down. You come back home and you mingle and you chat with your family another half an hour. Dinner is 1 hour. You add it all up and you write it down. So we have a spreadsheet that allows you to do that. At the end of the day, you see, all right, so if I just give it my focus time, I have 3 hours of blocks per day, and I can do that for 5 days. So that gives me a 15-hour block of time per week to invest into a business. So that's kind of super important for you to know that, because if you start with the assumption that I have no time at all, this video ends here because no one can help you, right? Because you're just assuming that it's a fact that you have no time and you're not willing to budge, you're not willing to sacrifice anything, you're not willing to pretty much make any changes to make time, then it's not a good fit for you to start a business, right? So that's just how it is. But if you're watching this, obviously you understand that you got to make the time, right? Number one is decide how much time can you invest into a new business. If you have the motivation to get out of your current business, current job, or make more money. Number two is exactly about that. Why are you in a business? Why do you want to? Why are you getting into business? Why do you want to start a business? What's your outcome? What do you want to accomplish with that? Is it just to make a couple of $100 a month? Is it to create a side income of a few $1,000s? Because if your goal is to make another $500 a month in addition, and you would be settled and happy with that, you might not really need to start a business. You can just go ask for a raise or transfer yourself to another job that pays you more, and then you're fine, right? But this video is for more entrepreneurial people than that, because that's a false freedom that you get from a job, false sense of security you get from it. Even if you cover that $500 gap, I think you intuitively know that that's a no-go situation, right? Because you're not really building any foundation. The moment they let you go, I mean, we've seen that happening recently through the madness that we're going through right now. You're just on the streets looking for another job, another opportunity, somebody to accept you. You want to be able to take control of your life, your financial future, your current times, and your financial future, and the gap in between. So number two is, what are you trying to accomplish with this? Are you trying to get rid of your golden handcuffs, the job, get rid of that 9 to 5? Are you want to start out with adding a few $1,000s here and there? It has to be definitive, right? You can't hit goals that you haven't determined yet. It can't be like this broad goal of, I want to quit my job and be rich. Well, what does that even mean? How do you define rich? How do you define getting rid of your job? And how are you going to do that if you do not have the specifics? Like, it's like you telling the universe, I want to bake a cake. Well, how big of a cake, for how many people, what the ingredients are. So we got to go through that, right? So that's number two. You got to decide what you're expecting out of this new venture. This will be important for the next point, because that will help you determine what kind of business you should start, because that's super important, right? The number three is, what's your tolerance? What's your risk tolerance on capital loss or capital investments? So in other words, how much can you invest into a new business? Is it like no money at all? I'm going to bootstrap. I'm going to find something that doesn't cost anything. Okay, that's an option. Or I'm actually okay with investing, $2,000 to $5,000. Or I've saved up enough money, up to $30,000 to $50,000, that I can invest into a business. That's why I say risk tolerance, because no business can give you the guarantee that you will succeed. Because there are many variables that even the business cannot control. The very biggest variable is you. Will you actually do the work? Will you follow the system? Will you do what it requires to succeed in that business? Will you do the research? And the remaining is other factors. Is this a viable business opportunity, right? Will it survive the recession or what we're going through right now, but a bunch of other things. But the most important thing for you to decide is that you have to come up with a definitive amount. Let's say it's $5,000. So you got to be okay with multiplying that $5,000 to $50,000 of income, so you can 10x your money. But if you make the bad decision, you can lose that, right? So you got to be in a position that if you lose that, it's not going to ruin your life. You're not going to like lose your home and go homeless. That's why this number three is important for you to think like an investor. Many employees do not have that mindset because you're not brought up that way. You don't think that way. People with employee mindset do not think in the realm of investors' mindset or business owners' mindset. For example, in the training that we offer to our members, the very first thing we have to go through is the mindset part, how to think like a business owner. So that's really important that you start practicing how to think like a business owner. Business owners think in terms of investment. So how do I invest in myself? Obviously, like every investment, it comes with the risk of losing some of your investment or your entire investment, right? But you have to come up with an amount. That's number 3. Number 4 is that finding a business that fits the bill. You got to find a business that you can start with the amount that you allocated, right? Whatever it is, either zero or a couple of $1,000s. Then now you've narrowed down your approach. A lot of times people go to Google and type in best business to start. Then they're going to rain down on you with like thousands of opportunities, and you'll be lost more than the moment that you started the search, right? We don't want that. Now you know a lot about it. Well, number 1, you know how much time you can dedicate to this. Number 2, you know what you're trying to accomplish. So you're going to look for a business opportunity that allows you to start part-time. You're going to look for a business opportunity that allows you to make the amount of income that you want to accomplish on number 2, right? Let's say it's $3,000. Number 3, you want to start a business that allows you to start with the money that you're ready to invest. Let's say it's $5,000. And so number 4 is finding that business. So now your job will be a lot easier than broadly looking for any business, because it can swing you from starting a franchise, becoming a franchisee, to running a restaurant, to running an online business, running a coaching, all kinds of things. Like it's just too broad. You have to niche down into a specific segment of the businesses that works for that purpose. Now you've done your research and you narrow it down to like a few businesses that work that way. Number 5 is find out how long it takes to succeed, right? So does it take, because you got to be okay with the time it takes. A lot of time people start a business, they have no concept of time it takes to get the results, because we're all looking for instant gratification, right? That's why we're all addicted to social media, most of us at least, that we want to see things quick, fast, and keep scrolling, because that gives you the instant gratification of getting to the end of things really fast. But in business, you have to define that as well. The business that you chose to start, is it likely to get your results in 3 years, which could be okay depending on what you're trying to accomplish, right? Or is it 3 months, or is it a month, or is it 6 months? What are you okay with? What's acceptable to you? And what's ideal? What is a stretch? What is not acceptable, right? So you might say, when I invest my money, I want to be able to get something back in 8 months. Anything beyond that is not acceptable. So that's why number 5 is, well, you got to narrow it down to that time period and find that business that would allow you to do that, and then find a shortcut, right? So let's say you really like this business, but the projected timeline for you to get results is a year. How do you take a shortcut? Well, how do you take a shortcut is you find people who've done it before. So that's where coaching and getting consultations and investing into like online training is the key, right? Because you can take a business model you really like, but you notice that it's going to take a lot of work for me to do the work on my own. Can I copy someone or model someone or learn from someone who's done it before, who has the proof of concept and the results that he's gotten or she's gotten that helps other people? That's number 5. And again, you might not want that. Maybe you want to bootstrap and learn it on your own. That's perfectly fine. That's number 5. Number 6, whoever is involved with this decision making, you want to get them on your side. A lot of times what I see is that people are totally determined to succeed, but somebody in their family, it can be the wife, husband, partner, mom and dad, whoever you have, they have no idea what you're going through. And all of a sudden you just come up with the news that, hey, I'm starting my new business, I'm going to quit my job. And it freaks them out. It disturbs their sense of security, right? So they might not agree with you 100%, but you got to keep them updated a little bit, because you want to get the support, as much support as possible, or you have to belong to a community that would support you. If you can't get it from your family, listen, one of the most difficult things to do is to build a business on your own. Like it gets lonely, right? For that reason, there are a lot of groups online. Like you can find a lot of free groups that kind of do what you do, and you can join them and build new relationships there. There are a lot of paid groups you can join, but you want to be a part of a supporting community who is sharing the same vision as you, because you don't want to start this on your own and the two of your best trusted advisors, your family, your husband and wife, whoever you have, they disagree with you. And instead of supporting you, they tell you it's no good and you're no good for it, and this might not be a good fit. Are you sure you really want to do this? Have you thought about this? What if you lose money? They kind of pull you down instead of supporting you. And they don't mean to do that, but that's just how it is, right? For that reason, you need to be a part of a community that supports you. So make it a part of your research. And number 7 is the part that I talk most about, is taking imperfect action. The purpose of this video is not to give you 7 steps that you can linger and think about for 6 months, right? This is just to, do it, get it out of the way, and take action. There's not going to be a better time to start a business. One of the best startup booms was back in the day when the Second World War ended in Germany. Germany was flat. They bombed the crap out of the country. But even businesses started at that point, trust me, we're in a way better situation than them right now, right? So there is no better time to. You can't wait for a better time to start a business. If you're thinking like a business owner, you start, you take action. There's no waiting. Waiting is the enemy of profitability. Indecision is the enemy of profitability. The sense of perfection is the enemy of profitability. You want to take action. You're not going to know everything. You're not going to have everything. You're not going to have all your ducks in a row. You're not going to have a perfect mechanism system, that kind of gives you the results. And, you see a lot of people who just want to get rich overnight. Life doesn't work that way. Okay. So you can't claim anything that's not yours, or you haven't invested your time into, right? You don't always have to invest money, but you have to invest something, your commitment, and delay your gratification. If you're going through this quick list of 7 things and you think to yourself, this is too much, I'll never do it. Well, maybe this is not for you. I'm being perfectly honest. I'm not trying to disqualify you from being a business owner, but if you're thinking about this and if it doesn't excite you, it's okay if you're nervous. It's okay if you're anxious. It's okay if you're feeling uncertain, because that's just what entrepreneurship is, right? But if you're feeling hopeless, saying that I can never do that, well, you can. Many people have done it, and many organizations have been founded on industries that the founder had never experienced in, and they come from really poor backgrounds and no time, no resources. So there's nothing that would stop a person who made up his or her mind to succeed. This guide simply provides you a structure on how to look at this, how to think about this. This is not going to convert someone who's not a good fit for business anyways to do this, because some people will look at this and be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I have to do all of that to succeed. Others will look at this and be like, well, I'm thankful for that. This helps me a lot making my decision. So that's why I think it helps you categorize yourself properly on where you are. And if this was helpful, comment below and let me know your thoughts. But hopefully you did enjoy it, because I took a lot of time to come up with this to help you guys decide if being a business owner when you're fully occupied or have a full-time job is totally possible. Many people actually have done that. I personally know hundreds of people have done that. So you can do that too. It's just a matter of following a system or making up your mind and taking imperfect action. See you on the other side.